Hopefully you guys are able to see and hear the dog training session. That's right. Do you have an unruly dog? Do you have no money? Well, in this 1-hour training session, we are going to teach you everything you need to know about a dog. We're going to get him in tip-top shape, and we're going to correct your behavior, because chances are it's your fault. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, including anatomy, basic skills, behavior correction, and questions from the ignorant. I'll be taking all of your questions when I've decided to do so. So please hold on to them. I'm glad you're here. There's been a lot of questions lately about how to take care of a dog. They're mystical creatures, crazy beings that are difficult to track down and keep within your domain. But if you do it just right, you'll find that they're just always around. See, the bond you can have with your dog is yours, and you earn it and you keep it, and if you do a good job, you'll know it because you'll have a good dog. Dogs are pretty much reflections of their owners. So, if you have an unruly dog, you were probably a really bad kid too. And you should think about that. We're going to be getting into our first category, anatomy of a dog. And for some of this, I'll be utilizing my dog. But in the event that Simone doesn't want to participate, or she's allowed to, I'll be using a stuffed dog for scientific purposes. Now, besides the really good-looking top hat and mug of Joe, this is pretty much what you're going to get with your average dog. It contains all the major elements. Eyeballs for seeing, mostly things like food and frisbees and their favorite owner. A nose for sniffing out mischief. 4 appendages most of the time. A waggly tail. And ears, which I'd like to talk about for a little bit. Base, please save your questions. I understand that your dog might have come with a top hat, but this is not a traditional dog. Does look good though, doesn't he? Now, ears are interesting because they are able to hear, much like our ears, and you'll find that you actually never need to yell very loudly because they're pretty good at hearing you. Most of the time, you'll never actually even need to speak very loud at all to them. And you can always keep them about a 3 to 5 foot distance, unless you want to like whisper how much you love them in their ear. I love you. That's pretty much the basics of anatomy of a dog. Now, as we get into basic skills, we're going to start going over some traditional things that you might need to know about how to train your dog. And you might be asking yourself, how do I train my dog to be a bit more observant, to listen to me, to face the right way to the camera? And a lot of the answers to these things are that you cannot decide exactly what your dog is going to do and not do. You can positively reinforce good behavior, and you can negatively reinforce bad behavior. And then you have to wait it out, because training is not something that happens in 10 seconds. It takes days, it can take weeks, and in some cases, especially if they've been trained incorrectly, it can take months. So we have to be really reasonable to how quickly we can train our dog and get them to do the behavior that you want them to do. This free training session, by the way, to anyone who's new, is for anyone who's ever been a bit curious about making sure their dog is behaving correctly, but doesn't have the money for training. That's okay. We can train you today that you don't need to ever hit or spit on your dog to get them to sit. They'll just do it because they're fine, and you just don't have to be a dick about it. So that's what we're learning today. Questions at the end, Armored. Now, a couple things you're gonna want when you start your basic training is a dog. Just make sure you're ready before you acquire one of these. And I typically use some form of treats that are like low in fat, because you're gonna be giving them a lot of them. So you want to make sure that you're not like overdoing it, right? Like if you give them too many treats, it's gonna be, they could get sick and stuff. So let's talk about basic training options here. Dogs are pretty simple. They like positive reinforcement, they like the attention, and they like learning. So all these things are kind of automatic things that you can do that people want to know. Poop Thought Dog, thank you for the follow. Stripe, thanks for the host. Let me make sure. Simone is definitely Simone really wants this. All right, so let's get him to get up for a second and then sit. That's a sit. You give him the treat, he ingests said treat, and he's a happy boy. My notifications aren't popping up. My pooping up. That should be easy to add. Abomination, thank you for the follow. I should be able to fix this. No problem. I'm not concerned. It's interesting because I tested my widgets earlier, but they don't want to work right now. Tested them right before. We're gonna go to my full screen real fast. This one definitely has it. And so my question is, why aren't they working anymore? Because they definitely were. Super weird. There they are. Are they just taking a billion years? So weird. These little stupid things. Well, it says that the little notifications work. They're just really ugly. Anyway. Seeing it now? All right. Good to know. I've lost my dog. No, he's right here. We're good. When you have your treats, your dog will probably stand at attention pretty quickly because dogs like treats and they like you and they love you and they want your attention and they also really, really want your treats. They're also pretty smart. If you use the same visuals each time, they'll probably start to pick up on it over like a couple days. You could probably see Simone already starting to lift one of his paws when I lift my hand down. He knows that that's where the hand goes. In fact, he's done this so many times that if I switch hands, he should switch hands too. You're so smart. You're so smart. Simone's been learning that when my hand goes down, his hand goes in it, to the point where even if I don't have a treat, he'll typically do it, which is really cool. But not all the time, because dogs are creatures that have their own opinions and their own feelings, and sometimes they feel like sitting and not shaking hands. Sometimes he'll walk out of the room, even though I'm still in it. And that's okay, because that's a dog. If you're unhappy with something that your dog is doing, you should really think about what caused him to do those behaviors before. Because most behaviors are learned behaviors, which means you did something that caused him to feel those way, or react, or not pay attention to you. So you should really be internalizing a lot of your behavioral issues of your dog and realizing, what can I do to stop my dog from being such a pain, or peeing in the house, or pushing over the plant. But back to training. Can you turn around? Oh, good boy. Dogs tend to really like belly rubs almost as much as they like treats. Sometimes you can convince your dog to do a trick specifically for said treat. Do you want to try that again? But I want you to like roll over the whole way now. Simone has internalized that laying down and rolling over is the same trick. Lay down, roll over. Okay. You've done well. I feel bad when he gets this far but can't fully get over because he's too aggressive with his rolling. So I tend to just give him the treat in this situation because I feel like he did the right thing. He's pretty content in this situation. He probably can have many more treats and still be good. It's pretty much the basis of most of the tricks that I've given him. All right, too much. Do you want to sit pretty? Okay. Are based on the idea that we've just been doing this about once a week, sometimes twice a week, for several years. Simone is 3, so it's not like he came out this way. It took him a while to slowly get adjusted to what he can do to get treats. He's pretty weebly wobbly as well, actually, Base. He's a spicy boy as well. French Bulldogs are actually known for not being trainable. They're really bad with listening for like walks and stuff like that. They'll pull on their leash. They don't always like want to do what you tell them. So you have to have a lot of patience with an animal like that to remember that sometimes it's breed. Especially sometimes if you don't get them fixed, they tend to be like a little bit more intense and high energy. So if you choose to breed your dog or you choose to not spay or neuter your dog, you're probably gonna have more energy dog, and you have to take that into account when you're training the dog because it might take longer to train. Hormones are real. Yeah, German Shepherds are crazy, and like big dogs can be really intense, right? Like Simone is a high energy pup for a little dude. If he was a lot bigger, he'd be a lot to manage. But because he's so small, when he gets really out of hand, we tend to just like pick him up. Picking up kind of puts him in a neutral state and can't really do too much about it. Like, he doesn't have a lot that he can do if I pick him up. So that's like a really good way to neutralize him. Yeah, so I did some work back in the day for a rescue, and what I found is that their catchphrase was, "A tired dog is a good dog." So if you ever feel like your dog is a little bit rambunctious and difficult to handle, a good way to deal with that is to exercise them regularly and often, very specifically in the morning and before they go to bed, because it just kind of chills them out throughout the day. Do you want to do your thing again? Okay. Sit. Okay. Other one. Other one. Lay down. So you'll notice a couple things that I'm doing when I'm teaching him these tricks that he's memorized. A couple things are I use hand signals. My right hand goes down when I want his right paw. My left hand goes down when I want his left paw. Well, I guess that's the way I perceive it, so it's the opposite, but you understand what I mean. Sit is just above his nose, so he knows to kind of like sit in order to get it, and he's actually trained to the degree that any time he gets a treat, even if it's at like a coffee shop, right, and they have like little dog bones, he knows to sit for the dog treat. He's not supposed to just accrue a treat. He has to earn it with a little bit of sitting. In addition to just a simple sit and the handshakes, the hardest one for him to learn was laying down. What made this so hard is that if he doesn't understand what I'm saying, I kind of had to like put pressure on his hips to get him to lay down. And that was really difficult, and he fought me on it, and I felt bad because I didn't want to like force him into a situation that he didn't want to be in. So it took a really long time to basically like, oh, did you just puke up your treats? This is a classic dog. Great. You have little gross goo on the floor now. When did this happen? Is it on camera? I had to just kind of like push him down a little bit to get him to be in the lay down position. How you doing? You still good? Still active? He seems like he's still into it. You saw it? Sometimes Simon, because he's short-nosed, he can have trouble breathing. He can get overexerted, and he can also get too hot. So he has to stay cool, and we have to watch him and make sure that he can breathe okay and that he's not getting over-exhilarated, because it can cause him to, like, I don't know, just kind of like stutter with his breathing, which is definitely not good. And he also snorts when he basically just exists in the world, and he also snores pretty badly when he's sleeping, which is cute, but also very loud. Aw, little bug. You'll notice that I'm petting the dog now. This is a normal thing that you can do for your dogs that they tend to enjoy. It's also pretty nice for them. They are good boys, and they deserve to be treated as such. Little snorts? Still little snorts? How you doing? It's a lot of attention for him. Thanks, Rico, dude. So let's talk about some basic behavioral issues that you might face with your little man and how you can deal with it. Some issues that most people have are potty training. Simone was not easy to potty train. He required potty pads that we put in the bathroom, and he would go on those, but then when we removed the potty pads, he would just still go in the bathroom, which I suppose is better than anywhere, but not what we wanted. So it took a really long time to fully convince Simone to make noises or make little like noises when he needed to go to the bathroom, which is what he wants to do now. It's pretty rare for Simone to have an accident. I think it's been well over a year, but even still, it's totally possible for a dog to have an accident in weird circumstances, and if that happens, it's probably because of weird circumstances, like he's sick, or he's scared, or you left him home for too long, or some kind of like outlying issue. So traditionally, once they're trained, they should be good. So, but when they don't, you definitely have to consider the environment and what you might have done that might have caused the dog to relapse and not follow his training protocol. Anytime Simone does do something he knows he's not supposed to do, he's pretty smart, and he tends to feel bad and like kind of like crawl or like hide because he knows that he did something he's not supposed to. Hey, Duke. What do we do when we want to tell a dog that they did something bad, but be very careful with, thank you, Mrs. Rose, for the follow. What do we do when your dog's done something wrong and you want to tell them and correct the behavior, but you also want to do it responsibly? That's probably the best question, and probably why we're here today. If your dog ever does something that it's not supposed to do, you do have to be stern with your animal and tell them that the behavior was wrong. Not always will positive reinforcement work. So for example, Simone pulls on his leash and sometimes he tries to cross the street. He's not allowed to do that. He has to wait for me to tell him he can cross the street. I don't want him just jetting across the street. Now, if there's a squirrel or something, sometimes he will cross the street. So how do we deal with this? How do we correct a dog's behavior responsibly and respectably? Oh, it's real, Boutron. The best way to do that is to have a code word that your dog knows that will let your dog know that they've made a mistake. That can be something like no, or bad, or stop. But you should actually stick to the same word, because if you mix it up all the time, your dog can't understand what you're saying. A little bit of too many treats, maybe? You only had like 5. It's funny. You want to stick to the same word because your dog doesn't understand English, obviously, but he can memorize lingo, like his own name, right? Dogs typically respond to their own name because they hear it so much. Well, they can also respond to a positive reinforcement word and a negative reinforcement word. But you don't want to have like 10 words because it's not really going to understand everything that's going on here. So you probably want to say something like no is like a pretty simple one. You want me to stop petting you? All right. He probably will fart at some point. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. The Great Polio! Thank you so much for subscribing with your Twitch Prime. Thank you so much. And that's 2 months strong. So there's a little pup emote in there. Thank you so much for adding to the dog bowl. I really appreciate that. So I typically say something as simple as no. No is pretty simple. They understand it. He knows that word and he responds to it pretty well. I can be pretty stern with him when I say it, but there's no ever need to actually like yell at your dog, because your dog can hear really, really good and he doesn't need to hear anything like that. Another thing you don't need to do is you never need to call your dog a name, because your dog doesn't actually understand what that means. So if you call them something, they don't understand what's going on. It's not good for them. It's not benefiting them in any way. And you seem like a dick. So don't call your dog names. Just say the negative word, which could be no or bad. And you should say it sternly and with some kind of like force. Like you shouldn't just be like, no, because a lot of times if you say it kindly, they don't actually understand. You have to say it with gusto, but you never have to actually yell at your dog. I do call him Bug all the time. Bug is like my nickname for Simone, and I actually think that he responds to Bug, little Bug, more than he probably does his name. My dog is a pretender. He never listened. Yeah, Simone's actually pretty notorious for also not really listening. A good example of that would be that I've been trying to teach him to stay, and that hasn't gone well. He has no intention of learning stay. We can try it, but it doesn't tend to go well. Why don't we give it a whirl? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, well, keep him on the screen, but I'm gonna stand and I'm gonna tell him to stay, and we'll see if he follows me or if he stays. Oops. All right, ready? Are you paying attention? No. Can you come here? Sit. Stay. Now he's watching me like a hawk. Oh, damn it. Let's try this again. All right. Stay. Stay. Sit. Stay. Damn. He's too excited. Want to try one more? We could probably try one more. Can you stay? Stay. Stay. Sit. 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 Stay. Nope. Sit. Sit. Stay. 3, 2, 1. Good job. I'm gonna consider that a win. That's pretty tough for him. He's doing his best. Simone likes to follow and be in the room with someone at all times. Like, it's really rare for me to be like in my office working and Simone be in here sleeping. He likes to be in the room I'm in. If I'm cooking, he's typically in here watching me cook. If I'm playing a video game in the Nook, he'll typically go in the Nook too. So there's like our little Nook section. Like, he'll just go wherever I am to be near me. So unless I'm streaming a scary game where I'm screaming, because it hurts his ears, so he will run away when I'm screaming. Other things that you should know is that it's a time-based issue. So, oh, Duke, thank you so much for subscribing with your Prime. Thank you so much. And putting something in the dog bowl there. I really appreciate it. Please enjoy your Seamotes, which contain a whole bunch of different fun little emotes and some fun images of me from various streams. Yay! I'm glad. And thank you, because you could use your Prime anywhere at any time, but you used it with me, so I really appreciate that. So thank you. Simone's in his dog bed now. Oh, Jimmy Dean breakfast. What a delicious, delicious Prime subscription. Thank you so much for using your Prime here. I really appreciate that. Your Prime is something that you have to manually do every month. You have to think about it and you have to return. So that means that you came back and you used it on me. So thank you very much. Ah, E.T. Dragon, thank you so much for subscribing. Oh, you sent an emote out of the bowl there. That's crazy. Thank you so much, E.T., for using your Prime on this channel and taking the time to watch it and select it and use your Prime here. So that's super awesome. No, you shouldn't. You're right on time. It's great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, E.T. So Simone's in his dog bed now. Simone actually has 2 dog beds. He has one in here and one in the office. Duke, thank you so much for the 501 bits. Whoa, thank you so much. The bits go into the dog bowl as well. We are doing quite well. Subscribe for Simone, cheer for Mary, is what he says. Yes, Simone is taking a little well-deserved nap now in his dog bed. We try and make sure that he's comfortable. He's been on 2 walks today. When I mean like out, I mean like he goes at least around a block, if not like 4 or 5 blocks. I try to take him out for like 20 minutes to like actually exercise him. If I don't, I can tell because he's difficult. Let's see if we have any toys that he wants to play with today. He just got a new ball, which he's been pretty stoked about. I don't know why I never bought him a ball ages ago. I just always assumed he wasn't interested because he doesn't return when we play fetch. If I throw him something, he doesn't give it back to me. He grabs it and then runs away with it. Yeah, Simone sleeps in my bed, E.T. He doesn't sleep in his dog bed, but he uses his dog bed. Like, he naps in it, but he sleeps in the bed with me. And if I don't, he tends to complain. Like, I'll hear about it. Yeah, Bouchon, this technically isn't maybe like the best example of fetch. Sometimes he'll return it. We'll see. Let me see if I can go get him. Let's see if he's down to play. That's a good boy. Simone likes traditional tenny balls. I think this one's a little smaller and it's got a little squeaker in it. Do you want to get it? Let's see how interested. He doesn't seem very interested. Feels like he couldn't really give 2 shits about this ball. Do you want to? He's in the nook, sitting there. He is staring at me. You're a complicated boy, Simone. He's not having it. I think something that a lot of people forget when they talk about training their dogs is that it's something that takes a pretty long time to get the dog to react the way you want, and especially to form a bond with your dog. So not only am I training my dog, but when I'm like giving him treats and like positively reinforcing his behaviors, we're like forming a little bit of a partnership here where Simone knows that he can trust me and that I'm a good owner that loves him, and that he's a good boy. And I think dogs like that. Like, they like thinking that they're good boys. Most of the time. I think dogs like being praised for being really good. I think they like getting earnest pets and attention. Simone specifically goes out of his way to ask for attention and for belly rubs. He likes feeling special, and he likes being coddled, and he likes being praised. And I think most dogs are like that. E.T. Dragon, dogs are the best. I agree. I think dogs are the greatest thing that's ever happened to us as a people. We're able to have these like lifelong companions, and they're so good, and they love you so much as long as you take care of them and you love them back. So that's why we have to be really careful with that relationship and protect them and be good to them because they need you. You know, dogs are companions for life if you treat them right. they'll always be there for you and they'll defend you. I've had people like jokingly like try to bite me and Simone like gets really defensive. It's pretty cute, but it's probably not necessary, but it's like Simone does like think about protecting me. He does care about me. There's like been a couple times where I've been like really sad and the dog, like Simone's known. If I'm sick, Simone won't leave my side. So like if I sleep in until 11 a.m. because I'm not well, he won't get up. Even though he typically gets up hours earlier to go to the bathroom. He'll just sit in bed with me because he knows I'm sick and he needs, and I need him, which is so cute. Yeah, animals are just like people in that way. They want to be loved and they like to love, and like it's our job to protect them and be good. Right? So now we're gonna get to the next portion of our day, which is questions from the ignorant. What I'll be doing during this section is taking questions from you, the chat, reasonable questions, of course. I have every right to not answer questions, but I will do my best. Native, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. All right. As soon as I stopped petting Simone, he ditched me. Standard behavior. He was around when I had the treats. But now the relationship is on edge. Alright, here we go. Cool. Questions. Milkham. Does Simone go to daycare? Simone was rejected from daycare because he tried to fight another dog. True story. Simone got into a fight when he was a puppy, and it made him pretty difficult with other dogs, and it's completely up in the air whether or not he's gonna be cool with the dog, whether he's gonna be like stoked to play, or whether he's gonna like freak out and hate the other dog and bark at it. And for whatever reason, Milkham on that very particular day when he went to a daycare with that basically puts them in a giant playroom and all the dogs can like openly play with each other and have a good time, he got into a fight and they removed him. So he failed his school and he's not allowed to go to that boarding school. So what we do for our little man is I have to hire someone to come to my house and let him out. And if I'm gone for multiple days, the person will actually stay in my place. So they'll like sleep here and take care of the dog, and they'll still go to work, like they'll still live their life, but they'll come back and like just live here while I'm gone. That way it's better for Simone because he gets pretty sad if he's alone. Arian Blue, is it true that you have to put cotton in a Frenchie's ears when you bathe them? So that's something that I've heard that you can do, especially for dogs that are prone to getting ear infections, because water leads to infection, right? Like moisture in ears is no good. So when you bathe your dog, you should actually make sure to keep their ears super dry and wash that part with like a damp cloth. And when I mean wash it, I mean like just this out part, never the inner ear canal. You want to go to a doctor, like a vet, and the vet can clean out your dog's ears, but you shouldn't be like almost ever cleaning out your dog's ears. So yeah, I have to be really careful. Simone's had a couple ear infections already. but he's not prone to them like some dogs. He is prone to allergies. You can see him licking his paws. He licks his paws when he has allergic. He has like some kind of like allergic issue with his skin. It tends to appear on his paws and on his belly. I just basically got it to go away. He has medicated shampoo. He has a spray that you spray in his little belly. And he even gets a monthly shot. The monthly shot helps curb his allergies. So those are the major things that we do to keep him okay. Smooth apricot, you look like you have healthy shoulders. Thanks, I work out. Boostron, what can dogs not eat? Is that no chocolate thing true? Yes, it's true. Your dog should never have chocolate. A lesser known one is grapes. Your dog cannot have grapes. No dog should ever have a grape. They can't digest them. It's basically poison. Please do not give your dog grapes. In fact, before you give your dog almost anything, you should just straight up Google it, because there's some things that are fine in moderation, like a banana, and there's some things that are straight up like poison. And chocolate and grapes cannot be digested, so they're either going to puke it back up or they're going to have like a really bad stomach issue getting it out. And then in really bad cases where they have too much of it, they have to like go to the doctor and have it fixed. Claypax, thank you so much for resubbing for 4 whole months. 4 whole months in a row. You definitely have your purple Simone badge. Congratulations. And thank you for using your Prime for 4 months in a row, which is even crazier because that means you're actually actively like remembering to use your Prime on my channel every month. Thank you so, so, so much. Yeah, Simone got an onion once and he puked, so I know he can't have onions. Not that I gave it to him, it's like it fell and he must have like eaten it off the floor. Does Simone shed a lot? Oh my god, he sheds so bad. So bad. He's one of the worst shedding dudes of all time. I'm so bummed because I think I was misled with how much he would shed. His hair is short, and I don't know what I was thinking. I think I thought for whatever reason, thanks Claypax, that his hair would not be as bad as it is. It gets everywhere. It's really hard to wear black. When he eventually gets up off my lap, my legs will be covered in white dog hair. I've actually changed the decor of my house because of it. Like, for example, this carpet, I went with a light colored carpet because I don't want to have to deal with looking at white hair on my carpet every day. Even if I vacuum, there's white hair on it. It sucks. Such a pain. Staying on top of a Twitch Prime sub is stressful. I bet. I like can't believe it's so consistent. It would be like really hard. It's so easy to forget. Strike Eagle, is Simone the bestest boy in the world? He is to me. I think so. He's the best dog I've ever had. I grew up with Yorkshire Terrier on my mom's side. My parents are divorced, and my dad had all sorts of dogs. He had a Samoyed Husky, those big, fluffy white dogs. Great dog. His name was Alex. So I grew up with dogs. I've always been a dog person. I've never been a cat person. I've always just had dogs in my life. So when I knew I was ready to have a dog, or when I was ready to have an animal at all, it was going to be a dog. It was never really a question to like get cats. It was always going to be a dog. And I just had to wait until I was financially and like time-wise responsible, because dogs are a huge commitment. I will admit that when I worked at GameSpot and even when I worked at Twitch in the beginning, I worked so many hours that I would often come home and not be able to walk my dog or give him the attention that he deserves. It was hard on him as well because we had more behavioral issues because he was not getting enough exercise. So a lot of that, like I was saying earlier, it's like, it's kind of on you. If your dog is being pretty wacky or like not listening, a lot of times you should be asking yourself, like, what can I be doing more to fix this behavior, because when Simone was at his worst, I wasn't really there for him. It's in Portland, Simone's getting more walks and more attention than he ever has in his entire life. He goes on easily 2 walks a day that are long, sometimes like 4. It's crazy. So he's very spoiled now, and it makes him a better dog. Case in point. He might fart on me, but he's such a good dog. Have you ever considered getting a Roomba? Would that help? I heard that there is a specific Roomba that's good for dog care, but Roombas are like $800. None of you have seen those. They're like crazy expensive. It's kind of like a dream gift of mine. It would be like a cool thing to like own one day, but I certainly could never like drop $800 on a Roomba anytime soon. You know what's been amazing is like finding how expensive it was to do this Silent Hills stream that I'm working on, which I could actually show you guys if you want to see where I'm at. Nina came over the other day and we tested the PS1 and a stream option and made sure it worked in the OBS, which was nice. No, I like cat pics. I'm not like anti-cat. I just like dogs more for my ownership. But anytime I go to somebody's house who has a cat, I totally pet them. I try to pet their bells. Aww. He is a loaf. He's a spoiled loaf. But he is a good boy. Regular Roombas are like $400. Yeah, I wonder what the rule is and like what you need to make it pick up pet hair. And I also was wondering, I don't know a lot about Roombas because I like haven't been able to like actually inquire about purchasing one, but my entire apartment is wood floors with carpets, not carpeted, but like room carpets, like this one, the one I'm sitting on. So the Roomba would have to be able to go up from a hardwood floor to a carpet, or it like would never work, that's for sure. Is it true, Aryan Blue, is it true that Frenchies are super gassy? Simone is so gassy. He's like extremely gassy, and I've just come to terms with it. Milkcam, Simone is part of the stream, which is work, which means tax write-off. Oh my gosh, I wish I could like write off Simone's expenses because he's so expensive. Simone's insured, by the way. Base wants to know why I'm not using a PS3 for the for my Silent Hill stream. It's because my PlayStation 3 was purchased when I lived in Australia, which means it's region locked. So it didn't work. Probably could have bought a PlayStation 2, but I bought a PlayStation 1. Ooh, Doom 3 would be fun. If I spoke to Simone in French, would he understand? Strike. Sometimes when I'm walking Simone, if he gets approached by a stranger and they ask his name and I say Simone, they'll speak French to him because they assume that I named him because I speak French, which is super awkward because I don't and he doesn't. So it's just kind of like always an awkward time when someone speaks French to my dog. But I appreciate it because I think people who speak French sound really cool. But Simone is purely an anime-based dog. He knows no other languages. He barely knows his name. How much does Simone bark? All of the small dogs that I owned growing up made a lot of noise, which I never cared for. Claypax, Simone barks when somebody is maybe like knocking at the door. He barks when the mailman comes. That's pretty stereotypical of a dog. This is my living room. You can see right behind me is the couch and the window behind it. Simone can actually sit on the top part of the couch and he looks out the window and he can see if people are walking by with their dogs and stuff, and he loves looking out that window. If he sees like a mailman coming up to the porch, he starts barking, which I actually like because then I know to go get the mail. I don't like it when I come home from like working out and he's barking at me because he wanted to, I don't know. I actually don't know why he barks at me. If I literally leave for like 20 minutes to get something from a store and I come back, he will bark at me. And it's really annoying. I don't understand that. Simone is a digger. He loves to dig after he like goes to the bathroom, which is really annoying, and he likes to dig sand at the beach. I think he likes the way it feels in his paws. So he does dig. I wonder if I had a yard if he would ruin it. But I don't have a yard. Does Simone like to chase small animals like squirrels? Yes, not only does he like to, hey Toast, not only does Simone like to chase squirrels, but he actively like aggressively pursues them, and it's become a problem, and something we have to fix with his training, because he pulls so hard on the leash if a squirrel runs in front of him that he can like pull my arm, like it feels like it's pulling out of the socket, and I have to be really careful with him. So I have to be mindful about like how to deal with his squirrel issues. He also knows the word squirrel. Typically, like if I were to go squirrel, he'll like, his ears will perk up and he'll know. I'm not sure. I mean, I can't, he doesn't do it on command, but if we're outside on a walk and I say squirrel, he's on high alert. So he knows what they are, and he probably thinks there's some kind of like weird, like demonic creature that he has to like destroy before they take over the world. Seabone needs a puppy-sized Gurren Lagann mech. He would like destroy that thing. He is pretty strong, actually, Milcam. I feel like he can knock people over on accident when he's like running into them. What are 5 things I could place around a pentagram to summon Demon Simone? Sage, what a fantastically good question. It would probably be things he likes, right? Like things that would make him want to come by. So it would be his favorite thing currently is getting wet food mixed in with his dry food. So it'll probably be canned dog food, because God, does he love that stuff. Maybe some treats. His leash, because he really likes going out on walks. His dog bed that he likes to nap in, and probably me, because he loves me. His least favorite thing is getting a bath. He hates them. He freaks out when he has them. The word makes him upset, and that's why he left. Like, he literally just jetted because I said bath. 100%. He did hump a lot of stuff, and it is embarrassing. The worst is like when I can't stop him from like humping, like, this is definitely embarrassing. What he does is, if I get home and he's excited, he can't help it because he's excited. It's like a natural instinct when you're excited, and he like humps the air. So he's not humping an item, he's just like doing the weird motion. And I think he knows that he's not supposed to, even though I don't like yell at him for doing it. I just don't encourage it. But like when he humps the air, he like feels bad, and then it's just like this weird guilt thing, and I don't know what to do. So I pick him up usually because he can't hump in the air, and that helps. Picking him up is the best neutral way to deal with behavior, because he can't do anything and I'm not hurting him. Dude, it's like really awkward. It's super awkward. Dogs like humping in general is like a really awkward thing. I have an edit of Simone, so let's check it out. He likes to pee on grates. I feel like he's gonna take down the water supply from the inside. The fine-tuned ears of a gentle deer. Simone! training session. I'm gonna go to my full screen now. I know that was pretty silly. Oh, did your ears hurt when I went to the thingy? All the humping motions. I got a couple other questions that I'm just gonna mention because we were like still kind of finishing up those. One question I saw was, Base says, does he hate water? Fucking hates water. He hates water. He won't go near it. If I have water, he will like avoid me. He won't go out in the rain. He's a huge pain in the ass if he needs to go to the bathroom and it's raining. It's connected to his hatred of baths. He hates the water. It's really funny when he goes to the ocean because he'll run out to the shore to sniff, and then when the water comes in, he sprints back because he won't get wet. Pardalis, does Simone suckle on toys? What does that mean? He like definitely mungs on them. Like he's just like nom 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 nom. But he doesn't like, I don't even know if any dogs can suck because they don't have like the right lips or whatever. Lil Lobo, my dog is 105 pounds, and when he gets bored, he finds unsuspecting owners at the dog park, grabs onto them, and starts humping them. That sounds so good. That sounds like a great way to meet friends and possibly a date, you know? Like, who knows? That's pretty funny. I like dogs that are like eager and excited, even if their owners are like easy. I like kind of like getting them riled up because that's kind of the person I am. So I like a good, fun, crazy dog. So I think that sounds great. I don't know how to help you with that behavior. I would probably try and keep treats on you, and if they run up to another person, you could probably like make them sit instead for a treat, which could be good. The problem with my dog is that my dog is protective of treats. So if I tried to do that at a dog park, my dog would like get mad at the other dogs because it's his treat, which you don't want. So Simone can't be trained at dog parks because he wants to eat. You want to see the jerk video? Yeah, I can play the jerk video. Is he an excellent cuddler? Nezumi, he is the extreme most best cuddliest pup ever. He like loves snuggling, and because he snores, it's so cute because he'll like put his head here and then he'll just snore in your ear. It's not great for falling asleep, but it's so nice when you just like want to zen out. Do Slammer, how did you and your wife meet? Oh, my 105-pound domesticated bear humped her at the dog park. She loved it. All right, so I think I have my jerk video. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna play my jerk video. I'll be right back. Hey, listen, the rest of us have been talking, and I really want to tell you something. This goes out to you, guy in chat. Why are you such a dickhead? You don't have to be a dickhead. You could be a nice guy. Maybe if you gave it a try. Consider it just a little bit, so you're not all alone. Consider it just a little bit. We all want to like you. Consider it, you fuckwit, so you're not alone. Consider it, we want to like you. Okay, so that was a pretty successful dog stream. Looks like we got a good decent amount of bits and subs for this, even though it was like super weird and not my normal content. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for allowing me to do something like totally out of my element, something I wouldn't traditionally do. I had a really good time, and I think Simone did too. He got some good pets and he got some good treats, and he got lots of attention, and he kind of looks like he could take a nap at any moment. Thanks, Howitt. I'm definitely not perfect, but I think something to know about being an animal owner is that you just need to do the very best that you can do within your personal situation with like time and money constraints. But the most important thing is to have a lot of love and compassion for an animal. If you're ever an angry person, or you have a problem with your anger, if you feel like there is times where you just like can't control yourself, you probably shouldn't have a pet, because they're just loving, innocent creatures. They can't do anything about their situation. They can't fucking leave you. So they're stuck, and you have to be the bigger person to know whether or not you should have one. So if you ever have anger issues, if you're ever yelling at your dog, if you ever want to push your dog, you should not have your dog. You should give your dog to a really good person that can take care of the dog. And then you should figure your own issues out. But remember that animals need you to be the bigger person. They don't know any better, and you're their world, and they love you, and they want to be with you, and they want to fall asleep in your arms. And it's your responsibility to be the big person, to do the right thing and take care of your animal with all the love and affection that they so rightly deserve. So please be good to each other, and please be good to your puppers. Oh my gosh, he's so chub. Do you want to go? Say goodbye. Goodbye. You're a little bit out of the light. Here you go. He's ready. He's ready to go. Anyway, thank you guys for letting me do something different and kind of weird. I'm going to do Slammer. Thank you. Oh.
Hot diggity dog, do Slammer sub.
Sick.
Peace, y'all.
That's great. I don't know why my sub thingy wasn't working until just now. Like, I didn't do anything different. My cat is a giant dick. I have to tell you, I have like such little experience with cats. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you that most of the advice that I'm doing, that I gave tonight, should technically work for cats. But if you want to train your cat to like sit or shake, you should definitely seek like a professional, and probably like some protective gear, because they'll probably cut you. Big Tom War, thanks for the follow. Wizard threw my Discord in the chat, so if you guys are interested in hanging out in between the streams, then you can always find me there. I'll be going to Bend, Oregon this weekend, because I've always wanted to do a river float, and I found a dog-friendly Airbnb, so I'll be going. This little guy will be going. He will not be doing the river float, because French Bulldogs can't swim. And he hates water, but he'll be coming to Bend with me, and we'll be doing some breweries and some fun stuff there. So you can always check out my Twitter and my Instagram, where I tend to update what I'm up to, so that you guys can have a good time. And I think that's all it for me. So again, thank you so much for letting me do something different. I know we typically play video games, but I wanted to do something fun and silly today. So I really appreciate you letting me do that. Purple, thanks for the follow. It means a lot to me. So this has been your free dog training, brought to you by me, a dog owner. If you guys ever have any questions about that kind of stuff, you can always look it up. You can always look up lots of blogs. You can talk to your vet, but just remember to always be kind to your animals. Yaguana, I have to go because I have to pick up my friend from the airport. So we're all going to Bend, and I have to acquire my friends to do it. Anyway, I hope you guys had a really good time. I did, and I'll be back again next Monday, as I always do, for my usual Monday stream. So one last time, thank you so much for letting me do a weird stream today. It's really fun to like mix it up and try something else. So this was fun for me, and I'm glad you liked it. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Be good to each other. Bye.
Yeah, the show is over, you guys.